Check. Oh, we're live. I think so. Let's see if the chat room's here with us. I think so. Getting ready. Yep. Oh, there we go. What a busy afternoon it has been. Hit that like, share the show. Do us all some good. I might have to run outside halfway through the show for undisclosed location or reasonings at a private location of my choosing. Never mind. Just hang in there. What's happening, people? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Hit the like, share the show to your friends, and irritate the maggot in your life by letting them know about this. And meanwhile, I will open up where's the little, that's what it is. A preview window so that I can stare at myself while I'm talking and see the chat room as well. That's super helpful. Hi there. There we go. Back in the bunker today, and for good reason. Trump is in Iowa, and also other awfuls. We'll jump straight into that. It's precisely what you could expect. Apparently, gold is taking off like a rocket ship, as Trump is wont to say. And that's a terrible, terrible thing, because it means that people are afraid of what he's doing to the economy. And so, as Trump would say, that's
not good.
So, yeah, which is pretty obvious to anybody. That when people, it's like it's the billionaire equivalent of hoarding canned food. When the preppers start prepping, that means they don't have a lot of faith in what you're doing, buddy. Also, Instagram isn't acting right now. I don't know why, but all the other stations, we should be good, in theory. We shall see what we shall see. In the meantime, we join our program currently in sort of discombobulation. Iowa welcomes President Donald J. Trump. Now, they printed those signs days ahead of time. So either they were being very optimistic or very selective about who they were going to let in to represent Iowa, don't you think? There the blurby goo. Sorry. Here he comes out. He's going to be like, we need some background music that here he comes. Yeah, wow, people, wow, hey you, boink, boink. This is really J.D. Vance's theme song, but better get on with it. They're gonna get bored. I want to. No more than 3 stairs. Hey, you. I'm just gonna stand here. People are holding up signs, one upside down that says lower prices that are going up, so they have to hold the sign upside down. Also, I have to say, the holding up of signs that say lower prices sounds a lot like people are yelling at him to lower the goddamn prices. I'm just saying.
I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, owie.
Stand there like an asshole.
I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, owie. Just boink, boink.
Totally misjudged the end of the song again.
Boink, boink, dooby-doo. You know what I want to do. Bust up.
Okay, so this is, he sang the last note, USA. I can't tell if they're all chanting in a round where they're staggering their USA, or if somebody started doing something, so they decided to jump on that person with a good old US of A.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Iowa.
Excuse me, it's pronounced
Iowa values.
it's pronounced
Iowa values.
It's pronounced
With so many proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. It's an amazing state. What a place. Boy, do we have some victories here. Were they the greatest? So exactly 2 years ago this month, it was the people of Iowa who put us on a rocket ship back to the White House.
more like an ICBM, but
It was a rocket. That
it was a rocket. And I said a rocket. It says rocket in the teleprompter. I think I'll say rocket twice.
a quick one. After a rigged election, we had a rigged election. I said, do we do it again? And I said, I think we better do it again. Not too many people who would have said that. But we did so well the second time, I said, well, we won twice, we got to do it a third time.
This is a fascinating story, and I feel like we're all not only motivated by it, but yeah, they're hard.
Should we do it a fourth time? Four victories. Four victories. We got the right team over there. There's the right team over there.
Yeah, they're good. They're ready, because they will sit in second fiddle forever.
Well, that would be easy for you. That wouldn't even be work. But you came out by the thousands. In November, we won the state by
That was a weird edit. Somebody must have thrown something.
a massive landslide. That was incredible. In the election.
Oh, I see. You're not talking about some sort of just an actual landslide.
And we then went on to win all swing states, all 7 of them. They said 7 swing. Well, he could win 4 of them. He's doing very well. But we won 7. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote for the first time of any Republican in many decades.
Yeah, and prices are still high. So get to the point.
It's by millions and millions of votes.
Yeah, you don't win. You realize that becoming president isn't an award. It's a job interview, and you get a job that you actually have to do once you're. I'm fucking with you. It's just like the Nobel Peace Prize. You can even be regifted one.
And we won a category that's very important. We won 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525.
Yeah, because 86% of all counties in America are empty.
How about that?
She only won the ones with people in them.
Other than that, we didn't do too well. So now we're back where it all started to celebrate the greatest first year of any administration in American history. They say
Really? You're going to give an award to Biden?
that. Even the radical left is saying we did a lot of things.
Yeah, where's that? Yeah, you killed some American citizens. You fucked up some stuff that was working just fine. You threw the entire economy into a cocked hat. You did a lot of things. I wouldn't call them accomplishments, though.
12 months ago, Joe Biden handed us a mess. We inherited the legacy of record high inflation, the highest inflation in the history of our country.
No, it was the highest in 60 years in the beginning. In 30 years. Highest in 30 years. I got that confused with the lowest unemployment in 60 years. So, but yeah, he actually, that was in the beginning. That was right after COVID and during the tail end of COVID. That's when the highest inflation was.
They say the fake news. Ooh, that's a lot of fake news. No, the fake news said it's 48 years. I remember recently I said the highest inflation, the worst. I believe this, by the way, worst in the history of our country. They said it wasn't the worst. It was 48 years. I said, that's okay, too. Somehow that sounds even worse than when you say the history, right? 48 years. I accepted that, but I think it was in the history. A mass invasion of our border and our country.
Does anybody give a shit what he thinks about dates, times, facts, and figures at this point? Isn't his entire presidency just an act of self-involved opinion? I mean, that's what this is a celebration of.
We was being laughed at all over the world. We were being laughed at. We were a joke. We're not a joke anymore.
Because we couldn't even prosecute an obvious fraud and get him in jail?
We're not a joke. We're not being laughed at anymore.
We're not joking anymore on us.
But today, just after 1 year of President Trump, our economy is booming, incomes are rising, investment is soaring, inflation has been defeated, our border is closed, totally closed.
And yet fentanyl still manages to find its way into the country at the exact same amounts as before.
And America is respected all over the world like they've never been respected. 1 year, I thought it would take...
Yeah, that's true. Our respect has shifted from our allies to our enemies. So we're respected in a way we've never been respected before, in that no longer respected by good people and now evil people, total respect. Like, big up, man.
Because 2 years, I guess I'm following in the great path of John Deere. We got the chairman of John Deere here. Chairman and CEO, that's pretty good. I even signed a John Deere hat for him. He said, I'm going to put this in the museum. I said, that's good. No, it's a great company.
Nah, it's great. You know, I did sign. He says, good. You know, I did a thing earlier, and then he liked it. And that's almost as good as cheap groceries, right? Huh? I was talking to this billionaire, and I signed his hat. You guys like that, you dopes.
Great company. And you just said you're opening up 2 massive plants because of tariffs. You're opening up one in North Carolina, one someplace else?
Yeah, someplace else. Eventually. We'll get there. Don't worry. We have concepts of a plan, of a marketing scheme, of a possible factory of something.
And you're expanding all over the place. You're doing a great job. I bought a lot of John Deere stuff.
For the vineyard?
Bought a lot of John Deere. It's a great company. It's an honor to have you.
You mean stock before he got them, you know, cozied him up to the White House. He bought a lot of John Deere stock.
Thank you very much.
Notice the Republican push to make sure that members of Congress can't trade stocks does not include the president.
This has been the most dramatic 1 year turnaround.
Traumatic, I think is the word he said right there.
Of any country in history in terms of the speed. I really thought it would take us 2 or 3 years to do what we're doing. You know,
even though you were telling everybody it would happen overnight, literally right away, it was literally that easy.
Greatest, the #1 country anywhere in history in the world, anywhere in history for investment coming into the country. And it's amazing. And it's...
Yes, most of the investment is in industries that will eliminate jobs and labor. Just putting that out there, that this is one of the first times where investment in the country is literally happening to eliminate work. So that should be clear.
Because of tariffs, and it's also because of the fact that we had such a tremendous November 5th. That November 5th brought spirit back to our country, came back. You know, one thing I think which is so important is, if you remember a year and a half.
Yeah, who needs cheap groceries when you've got Spirit? What? Spirit? Yes, he did, sir. No, Spirit, bravado, a touch of daring do. About 11:30, sir.
Half ago, we couldn't get people to enlist in the military, any of them. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, any of them. The Coast Guard, Space Force. I love Space Force, right?
Yeah.
First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
Not since the Ass Force.
We couldn't get them, and even police departments, they couldn't get anybody with a uniform that represented the...
Yeah, that's right. Roto-Rooter, forget it. Dairy Queen, nobody wanted to do it. If you have a uniform, everybody was just quitting. They were quiet quitting anything that required a lapel pin.
Country, you couldn't get them. And today, we have the single greatest recruitment numbers in the history of our military.
Actually, that's obviously not true. Clearly, World War II and per capita, it was enormous, like off the charts. Lines around the block. Even Vietnam had higher numbers than this. What he means is that they cleared their quota, and the quota was set intentionally low so that they would meet them as well.
The police forces are loaded, law enforcement is loaded up, and everybody wants
Oh, they're drunk, so that explains some of the behavior we've seen.
to be a policeman, a fireman. They want to be in the military, any branch. I mean, we literally they.
You do know that fireman is not a branch. You do know that fire, like airmen may fly in the air, but firemen aren't like in charge of flamethrowers, right?
Couldn't get them. A year and a half ago, nobody wanted to be in the military. Now everybody wants to be in the military. It's an amazing.
Well, also you lowered the standards, and anybody with a Nazi tattoo can now get in, and before they couldn't. So obviously the numbers didn't include those folks, which they shouldn't.
That's happened, an amazing turnaround. And all because we have a president who does something very simple, puts America first, right? Right?
Yeah, get in there and yell, buddy, because half of these assholes are like, well, he's kind of Israel first, and there's a little bit of Russia first, and seemingly China first right now, but... Yeah, it gets more Jonestown by the week.
Thank you. So under my leadership, economic growth is exploding to numbers
Well, people's nest eggs are exploding.
unheard of. They've never had them before in recent times, and now, and we're just getting started. You know, the great, big, beautiful bill, which is no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors. Do we have any seniors in here? Do we have any seniors in here?
Most of them are so senior they are too tired to lift their arms.
One of the fake news said he did that because he doesn't want to pay tax on his Social Security. Don't you believe? That's what I never thought of. These are sick people.
Yeah, nobody said that.
But despite the fact that we've just really started, it's just kicking in because we inherited such a horrible situation with all of the high prices and the inflation and everything else. And by the way, the open borders, we had millions and everything.
Yeah, you didn't have millions. Hold on one second. I have to get a file. 1 moment. One moment, please. I know I have it here somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, this is, yeah, let me find it in here. Trump has been claiming a lot of victories lately, obviously. Let's see. However, yeah, there's one thing right here. I'll open this up, beg your pardon. I'll have to search it out via these folks. Okay, search. Let's see. Trump deals. There was a really interesting detail in a, yeah, here it is. We'll just take this one and I'll send it. This is how we do it. We'll send this to the big computer. Where is it? AirDrop. There you go. Put it in there. Excellent. Yeah, this article struck me as kind of fascinating. And I think you'll enjoy it as well for the very same reason. Trump's art of the not quite deal. The president has offered frameworks, pledges, handshakes, and threats, a style that carries growing legal, economic, and diplomatic risks, and also is made up completely of fart air. they go through this whole article, and this is shit I've talked about for a while, that most of what he's saying means absolutely fucking nothing. And in particular, they tell that he goes, I've made 200 deals, he told Time in April, a mere 3 months into his term. A month later, the White House credited him with locking in over $2 trillion in great deals. Over the summer, he touted a veritable deal of a lifetime with Japan that will, in his telling, shower the U.S. with cash. We're taking in $550 billion. That's like signing, Trump claimed, that's like signing a signing bonus that a baseball player would get. But 1 year into Trump's second term, the catch in this supposed frenzy of deal-making has become hard to miss. Many of his deals aren't deals at all. That would be this part right here. Aren't deals at all, don't you know? At least not as the term is typically understood or used in English, I would say. Legally binding agreements with clearly stipulated terms that are documented on paper and willingly accepted by all parties. That's what most people think of when they think of a deal. Instead, they've tended to take the form of pledges, frameworks, handshake agreements, shakedowns, memoranda of understanding, or otherwise opaque, informal, or incomplete arrangements that fall short of a formal deal, yet still allow Trump to claim a quick victory and move on to the next thing. Sound familiar? All right. Shit that I've been bringing up for quite some time, and then finally Bloomberg's gotten around to it, I suppose. Now, but there's a fascinating part at the end of this. Let's see. It goes into, the parts, the deals that he says he's made and shit like that. Let's see. This is a top deal maker for H.W. Bush. If you're doing a traditional trade deal, says Douglas Holtz-Eakin, who was the top economic official under H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, you'd have the U.S. trade representative at the table with all the experience that office brings, and you'd have key people from the Senate Ways and Means and Finance Committees at the table who wouldn't let you ratify something that can't pass Congress. Kind of crucial. Typically, key stakeholders in the private sector would also have an input during the negotiations because it's their industry, and there's a lot of shit that the president can't possibly know about all these different industries, although Trump knows more about biology than the biologists and what have you, and more about trains than the hobos. Now, deals or decrees. These are the things that he set the U.S. motion. He's going to do this board of peace of ass. He's insisted banks will cap credit card rates at 10%, push defense contractors to halt stock buybacks, floated plans to stop institutional investors from buying single-family homes. He's also suggested he could send people $2,000 tariff dividend checks without going through Congress. Unlikely. This is all unlikely. He can't do any of it. Can I just say that for the record? He can't do any of this. He can say he's done it. He can write a fucking piece of paper and hold it up in the air. But it's, he might as well fart in a bag and pop it and say, I'm the king of the world, because it will have the same amount of impact on the actual day-to-day lives of people doing business or living their lives. Like, this is all commonly referred to as horse shit. There's nothing, well, I take it back. Horse shit can be used. Manure has got a fertilizer purpose. This is hog farts. It's what it is. This is hog farts. They are completely useless, and if left to their own devices, will destroy the environment. Okay. He's met headway with voters. He's convinced them to do all this shit. Now, he goes, he called Warren about this stuff and said, whether Trump actually follows through and tries to strike a bipartisan deal to ease the cost of living is anyone's guess. Right now, he seems to regard Greenland as a much bigger prize. But if the deal-making savvy that Trump campaigned on doesn't do more to produce the golden age of America he promised in his inaugural address, he and Republicans will be the ones feeling the voters' sting, the sting of voters' displeasure in November. It can't claim to be surprised. That, too, is the art of the deal. If you don't deliver the goods, Trump writes towards the end of his bestseller, people will eventually catch on. Foreshadowing. Oh, sorry. People will eventually catch on. Son of a bitch. People will eventually catch on. Foreshadowing. Right. So, needless to say, chat room, blazingly full of shit. Now, there was also another little thing about how little he's actually accomplished. That goes into even more detail that I found particularly charming. Let's see, was it this one? He also says Iran wants a deal, and that's why he sent the armada there. We'll get there eventually. The the ever present idiocy. And then, we haven't seen this one yet. We will though eventually. Here you go. Put that up there. There was a secret recording, which they are not letting us hear, unfortunately, where Ted Cruz trashes Trump tariffs and Vance. It's about a 10-minute recording, and it's got to be painful to listen to because of just the weaselly nature of his voice. I don't know about you guys, but Jesus Christ, it's hard. It's difficult to listen to this dude. That said, why is my screen all tilty again? I fixed that to make it look better. I'm very aggravated. I want you to know this. I'm trying to do this. All right, this is the field of view. Drag this, shoot this out a little bit. And then the rotation, no, I keep it like that. And then keep it like this right here. There you go. And maybe it's this one. Maybe it's the position Z just seems really wonky. Why would it, I guess not. Hold on. That's got to be the field of view then. Nope. What are you doing? Twinkly-doo. Twinkly-dee. Nope. Scoot across there, you stupid. I don't know why it tells. Is there another rotation? Is there another window into what I'm looking at that is just annoying? The scale? No. The Y. Oh, did the Y scale go weird? And then oh yeah, hold on. Ding. That's a little better. So the scale and then the ouch. Why is it doing that? The position situation. All right. And then maybe this. I don't think that's doing shit. Okay. This one seems to be doing so. This business right here. I think it's just the tilt of this whole goddamn thing. I'm trying. Okay, there's that. And there's this. That's a little better. And then we move it, I don't know, this way. It's fine. Whatever. These people are ugly anyway, so I don't even know why I care. Okay, so Ted Cruz. This might be dicking around with the screen aperture. All right. Sorry. Got distracted there. It annoys me. In the recordings, nearly 10 minutes in total, Cruz provided an unvarnished look at how he's positioning himself as a traditional free trade, pro-interventionist Republican ahead of a possible 2028 primary campaign. Also, Josh Hawley is throwing his hat in the ring, and Trump is pissed about that. So that's going to be a nice backbiting and era amongst these assholes. During his talk, Cruz cast Vance as a pawn of conservative podcaster Tucker Carlson, which is odd. I would have cast him more as a pawn of like Curtis Yarvin and Peter Thiel, because while Tucker Carlson brags about being boo-fooed by a demon at a truck stop, Peter Thiel actually brags about being the demon. So I'm just saying on this on a scale from 1 to what the fuck, he's much higher than that. So promoting anti-Semitism and anti-Israel foreign policy in their well-publicized spats. The recordings of Cruz were provided to Axios by a Republican source. They were made in early and middle 2025. In the latter recording, Cruz warns donors that Trump's tariffs could decimate the economy and lead to his impeachment. What he means by that, and apparently Trump misunderstood, like he thought that Cruz meant he could be impeached for doing the tariffs. And what Cruz means is that it's going to fuck up the economy, lose him the election, and then Democrats will impeach him for all the other awful shit he's doing. Which, I guess, for the record, I'm going to go with, where is it? Let me go here. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's all right. That's how it works out. Okay. This is my favorite part of it, though. Cruz and a few other senators had a call with Trump in which they urged him to stand down on the tariffs. Cruz says the lengthy call, which stretched past midnight, did not go well, and that Trump was yelling and cursing. Yelling and cursing. Trump was in a bad mood, Cruz tells the donors. I've been in conversations where he was very happy. This was not one of them. Cruz said he told Mr. Trump, Mr. President, if we go to November of 2026 and people's 401ks are down 30% and prices are up 10 to 20% in the supermarket, we're going to go into Election Day and face a bloodbath. You're going to lose the House. You're going to lose the Senate. You're going to spend the next 2 years being impeached every single week. Cool. Trump's response, according to Cruz, was, fuck you, Ted. Unity. This is what unity looks like. Kumbaya, my lord. When a questioner at the donors session mentions Liberation Day, Trump's branding for his tariffs unveiling, Cruz jokes, I've told my team if anyone uses those words, they will be terminated on the spot. That is not language we use. Cruz also told the donors about battling the White House to accept a trade agreement with India. When a donor asks who in the administration is resistant to reaching such accords, Cruz mentions White House economic advisor Peter Navarro, Vance, and sometimes Trump. This also means that Cruz is only allowed to speak to Peter Navarro, which is a status thing. Fucking Peter Navarro. Cruz repeatedly brings up Vance in the recordings and tying him to Tucker Carlson, and which, obviously.
Couch humping, jumping, feel the beat, take it higher.
Vance in the recordings, tying him to Carlson and accusing him of advancing the podcaster's anti-interventionist foreign policy.
Couch humping, reach the sky.
Tucker created JD. JD is Tucker's protege, and they are one and the same. They go together like a couch and stains. All right, look out. There you go. So, anyways, I want those recordings. I don't ask much, and I don't ask often, but I insist. So, chat room, if anybody wants to, sorry, this news cannot be good for Trump. U.S. trade gap shrinks. Trump, let's see. Trump's negotiating strategy, Supreme Court legal budget. Yeah. Well, he bragged that our trade deficit went down, but that's because we're not exporting anything. And a lot of what we get from China that we sell to other people, because again, our relationship with China is less with a trading partner and more with a wholesaler to a retailer, us being the retailer in this case, right? Nobody over there wants our shit because they're all mad, and we're not buying stuff from other countries because it's too expensive, and we can't afford to pass those those costs on to other people. So, fucked, I guess. Sorry, cut and paste went wild. That is all right. It happens. Yeah, we're exporting bullshit. That's true. All right, so let's jump back into his story.
You see, today wouldn't happen. They opened the borders, but we had a 5.4%. And since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time highs, adding $9 trillion in value to your savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. So,
well, first of all, that's all AI. All of the advances have come in an area that has fuck all to do with Trump's plans or anything. Hold on, we go new tab, and I'm going to do the gold hits 5,000. There we go. There was an article. Yeah. This is the doink. Hit this. There you go. Yeah, this is a classic issue with if you have a lot of money in gold. I guess you would feel good about this situation, but if you have it in anything else, this is rich people starting to act like preppers.
Not good.
Yeah, exactly. This is, and it's, gold traditionally is the old-fashioned crypto. It's for you. It's when you're doing things that are look. Yeah, gold top 5,000 per ounce for the first time ever on Monday. Why? Because things are awesome. Gold soared to a new record high on Monday, topping 5,000 per ounce for the first time ever as investors rushed toward the safe haven asset amid geopolitical unrest. The latest uptick continued a blazing hot stretch for gold. Over the past year, the price has climbed 83% because all year people have gone, we're fucked. In early trading on Monday, the price of gold stood at $5,077 per ounce. Silver prices also climbed on Monday, jumping around 8% in the early hours of trading. The price of silver stood at $110 an ounce as of Monday morning. Heightened geopolitical and economic uncertainty have boosted demand for gold and silver, which typically display a degree of independence from movements in stock prices. Some analysts previously told ABC News volatility in bond markets and a devaluation of the U.S. dollar, meantime, have unsettled alternative assets typically viewed as safe haven investments. What did Trump do to the dollar? What were they telling us Biden was going to do to the dollar, and Trump just came in and fucking did it? Anybody? So things are going awesome.
401k people, I mean, of which you got a lot of people. Does anybody have a 401k in the audience? A lot of people. So you're setting records, right? The highest it's ever been. They say this, the good stock market, they say, well, this stock market, they just try so hard. This stock market doesn't affect the middle class. I say it does. What about a 401k? What about all the other things? What about the fact that they're making more salary than they've ever made? But the stock market's the highest. How is John Deere stock doing? Great? All-time high? It's all-time. Everywhere. I don't have to even ask the question. I mean, I made a lot of people rich. Me, I just keep working. I made a lot of people rich. I made a lot of people rich that I don't even like. I got a lot of people that I don't like at all, and I've doubled their net worth. But after 4 years in which Biden got less than $1 trillion in new investment, think of it, he took in substantially less in 4 years than $1 trillion. We secured commitments for a record-breaking plus $18 trillion. So in 1 year, we did over $18 trillion, and he did less.
Also, just gibberish. Like, these are just fucking made-up numbers. It's just like what I showed you. So, it's a made-up fucking number. All of these deals. How about we jump right into if I fact-check this fucker, we will be here all goddamn night. And if you guys are willing to hang, I got to be kind of stuff to be cool. But, let's see. In that deals making thing that I showed you guys, hold on one second. In the deals thing that I showed you guys, there was here you go. The labor market has slowed in recent months, while inflation has hovered nearly a percentage point higher than the Federal Reserve's target of 2%. Meanwhile, geopolitical conflict looms amid negotiations over Greenland, U.S.-backed leadership in Venezuela, the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Over the weekend, President Trump threatened 100% tariffs against Canada if the country pursues a trade deal with China. In response, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said the country has no such plans. Under the terms of a free trade agreement with Mexico and the United States, Canada cannot seek trade agreements with non-market economies unless it provides notification ahead of time, Carney said. Precious metals are widely viewed as a hedge against geopolitical unrest because of millennial-old stores of value as perceived as investments that could outlive calamity, which is also stupid because it's a pretty fucking rock. There is another one. Hold on, if I may. I'll go straight to the blooms and the bergs. This one's yeah, here you go. Trump deepens dollar woes, saying he's not concerned about slump.
Dollar's doing great.
Of course he doesn't care about slump. Look at him. Play. Why are you not playing, you silly little thing? Anyways, this is the gathering at the at this factory thing. I think.
Well, Mr. President, with the current value of the dollar, do you think it's declined too much?
No, I think it's great. I mean, the value of the dollar. Look at the business we're doing. No, dollar's doing great.
Do you want to see it decline
You know, it's
more?
very interesting. If you look at China and Japan, I used to fight like hell with them because they always wanted to devalue their yen. You know that? The yen and the yuan. And they'd always want to devalue it. They devalue. And I said, not fair that you devalue because it's hard to compete when they devalue. But they always thought, no, our dollar's...
You talked a lot about
They want to devalue. So basically, I'm just devaluing our dollar on purpose. The dollar sank to its lowest since early 2022 after President Trump indicated he's comfortable with the currency's declines. Trump comments were seen as giving a green light to traders to sell the dollar, as they suggested the administration is in favor of a weaker dollar to boost exports. The dollar's drop has been fanned by Trump's unpredictable policymaking, which has rattled overseas allies and investors, and has come despite a rise in government bond yields and expectations of a pause in interest rate cuts. A pause in interest rate cuts. We barely had any, and they're already talking about the pause. The dollar sank, deepening a 4-day sell-off that sent it to its lowest since early 2022 after President Trump indicated he's comfortable with those declines. Nice job, asshole. Oops. Shit. Back. Not like I care, but...
The Coast Guard, Space Force, I love Space
No, we saw that part already.
thing that's happening, amazing, which is no tax on tips.
Yeah, we saw that part.
Don't you believe? That's what I never thought of. These are sick.
All right.
Well, everything you see today wouldn't happen. They opened the borders, but we had a 5.4%. And since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time highs, adding $9 trillion in value to your savings, retirement account, and 401ks. So 401k people, I mean, of which you got a lot of people. Does anybody have a 401k in the audience? A lot of people. So you said
Yeah, so, again, a subset of a subset of a subset of people.
records, right? The highest it's ever been. They say this, you know, the good stock market, they say, well, this stock market, you know, they just try so hard. This stock market doesn't affect the middle class. I say it does. What about a 401k? What about all the other things? What about the fact that they're making more salary than they've ever made?
That's not true.
But the stock market's the highest. How is John Deere stock doing? Great? All-time high? It's all-time. Everywhere. I don't have to even ask the question. I mean, I made a lot of people rich. Me, I just keep working. I made a lot of people rich. I made a lot of people rich that I don't even like. I got a lot of people
He means his kids.
I don't like at all, and I've doubled their net worth. But after 4 years in which Biden got less than $1 trillion in new investment, think of it, he took in substantial.
Okay, again, that was bullshit. We saw that part already.
Sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left, lunatics.
Okay, that's a refrain. There was all the tabs. Where are you bastard? I lost an article that I was watching, that I was looking at earlier, and it's bothering me. Let's see. Earlier today. Good Lord, I read a lot of news. and I do a lot of work. This is stuff that I made and something I showed him. Let's do a job. This is Maybe I had it in a different browser. Son of a bitch. No, it probably was. It was probably in Chrome. That's why I'm drunk. All right, I'll find it. Anyways, the crux of what I wanted to show you, and I will be able to find it soon. It was just so funny because I was just talking to our dear friend Rob Glenn about some of the stuff that he's doing with AI right now that we're going to show off on Friday, and one of them is just like being able to access stuff and just converse with your data all the time. And I shut that, and I'm gonna open this up, and what I want to do is close that as well and choose in here something in my history, which I looked at earlier. Show full history because I'm not afraid. This is it's just the older thing. Never mind. Son of a dog doodle. All right. I will dig it up. I'll have it for you for the morning show tomorrow. But one of the cases that they were making is that a lot of what Trump is taking credit for right now, no surprise, is stuff that came from the Inflation Reduction Act. As a matter of fact, let's see. Trump Inflation Reduction Act credit. No, that's not right. Let's see. Yeah, but a bunch of what he's claiming that he has done as far as wage growth and that kind of stuff is directly because of the Inflation Reduction Act.
We were a dead country. We were a dead country. I'll tell you, 1 year ago, a little more than
We were not a dead country, just for the record.
1 year ago, we were a dead country. The king of Saudi Arabia told me that. You've heard me say it.
Yeah, and anybody who throws a reporter in a wood chipper, obviously.
Better than anybody else.
Yeah, rockin' dude.
He said, you know, I can't believe it. A few months ago, he said, a year ago, you were a dead country. Now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. He said, I can't believe it. And today I'm pleased to announce one more historic investment. The great American company that we just talked about is doing so much. I have to give it really. I buy so much equipment from so many of the people in the, you know, we have a lot of very successful companies in here, but I know it's a very special deal.
He jumped ahead to the John Deere shit.
Because John Deere is doing $70 million in factory in North Carolina. It's brand new, the best in the world. And I think it's going to pay off very, very big. And if it doesn't, I have nothing to do with it. But if it does, I'm going to take full credit. But what it is an excavator factory, as I understand it, and it's going to be the only excavator factory. In other words, excavators. We all know I love those excavators. Believe it or not, I know a lot about them. We don't make them here.
Oh, hang out for a second. What is this? Epstein accomplice drops courtroom bombshell, 25 plus secret payoffs with no criminal charges. Ghislaine Maxwell, the accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein, may be serving time in a cushy Texas federal prison, but the convicted child sex trafficker just detonated a political time bomb from behind bars. According to a new Daily Beast report on Tuesday, in a recent habeas petition, Maxwell dropped a bombshell claim that 4 potential co-conspirators and 25 men scored secret settlements tied to Epstein's abuse without facing any indictment. The report said Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Justice Department are doing everything possible to avoid one glaring question. Who are these men? And why are they still being protected, besides the fact that Trump is one of them and the rest are his friends? I'm kidding. Acquaintances, business associates, co-conspirators. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We know this. No criminal charges, but a very large check and a quiet exit, the report said, for Leon Black, Trump ally and former Apollo CEO, paid $62.5 million to settle Epstein-related claims in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Black testified in 2018 about being with Trump during a 1990s Russia trip, including allegedly visiting a strip club together. He paid Epstein roughly $170 million for tax planning while denying knowledge of sex trafficking, which is, of course, as we like to refer to it in the beeswax, bullshit. Yep. Maxwell lobs grenade naming 29 protected Epstein friends. Let's see. In this week's column from News, Brett Ratner, Corey Lewandowski. Because, by the way, Brett Ratner is the guy who directed the Melania documentary. He also did like Red Dragon. I really enjoy that movie, but it's a shitty copy of Manhunter. They should have just found somebody like brought Michael Mann out of retirement, or I don't know if he retired after Collateral, but they should have made him remake it with Anthony Hopkins and them. But whatever. Anyways, Maxwell, Johannes Brahms, Thomas Mann. Okay, this is just a list of these. Ghislaine Maxwell may be locked up in the Club Med version of a Texas prison, but she lobbed a grenade in the middle of it. Buried in a habeas thing, she named 25 men who allegedly reached secret settlements and connected to the Epstein abuse, which immediately raises the question Pam Bondi and her Department of Justice wanted to avoid answering who are these men, whether they still know. Congress passed this, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna have done this. There's the Trump and a woman that he wished well when he's never done that with his wife, even when she was sick. But before anyone pretends Maxwell's petition is all theoretical, we already know what settlement, no indictment looks like in real life. As The Swamp has previously reported, Leon Black, page 60, we read that part. No criminal charges, just a large check and a quick. And notably, Black is the same person who in 2018, Congress probed foreign interference in 2016, gave evidence about Trump being with Trump during a trip to Russia in the naughty 90s when they attended a concert, a discotheque, and according to Black's sworn testimony, might have been in a strip club together. I mean, it is Russia. This would be, let's see, we'll open this up. This is the full PDF. This is sweet. All right. How do I clear this part? Yeah, thank you. And then blow this up. There we go. Select Committee on Intelligence. This is the committee's authority on focus and blah, blah, blah. Trump Tower, Moscow, page 407. The Aguilera. Okay, so this is the Russian active measures, campaigns, and interference in the 2016 election. This is Volume 5, Counterintelligence Threats and Vulnerabilities. And that would be Trump's entirety. Here's Manafort, Paul Manafort's activities in 2014, the campaign. That's the guy who talked Yanukovych into hiring snipers to shoot innocent Ukrainians from a fucking bell tower while agents provocateur started fights with the cops and ran away on cue so that they could look like it was justified. That was Manafort. That's why he ended up getting a free, he ended up working for Trump for free. Background into the GRU hacking activities. I am downloading this, period, end of goddamn story. I'll just put it in my documents and put it into here with the documents and save it. George Papadopoulos, Carter Page, the Mayflower speech, Trump's travel to Moscow in 1996. That would be 647, and then Trump's travel to Moscow in 2013. So let's go on down, shall we? Follow me, kids, down to the old page. Where 647. That's 888. There you go. 798. I went past it. These are tight pages. 668, 593, 632. Okay, committee investigation. Sensitive only. Russian investigation only after the big blackouts. It's Maria Butina stuff. Allegation of potential misinformation. Also, introducing and findings. Russia is a long-standing practice. Okay, we got 10 more pages. Where are we? 642. Going to 645. Is 647. Trump's trip to Moscow in 1996. Lots of blacked out stuff on this one. That's interesting. We should see if the whole like, oh my God, where are the indictments about Russia? Where that is not happening, Pam Bondi. What are you doing? Saith Liz Wheeler. We should see if she wants to do a FOIA request on the redacted parts of Trump's trip in 1996. Donald Trump and David Giovannis likely first met during Trump's travel to Moscow first met during Trump's travel to Moscow in November 1996 with other U.S. investors to explore real estate development opportunities, which cannot be discussed. Based on information provided by the Trump Organization, witnesses, and open source reporting, the committee is aware of Donald Trump making the 3 trips to Russia, 1987, 1996, in 2013. It's like he's checking in at intervals. All of which have been publicly reported. Documents produced by the Ritz-Carlton Moscow indicate that a guest named Donald Trump stayed at the hotel in late January 2008 and in late June 2011. Based on open source reports, the records likely refer to Donald Trump Jr. Email Colin DeWallace et al. That's their evidence on it. So Donald Trump Jr. went and stayed there and did similar shit. Several U.S. businessmen, architects, and other individuals took part in the 1996 trip. Curran also understood that David was kind of like assigned to show Trump around town, take him to dinner. Leon Black, who participated in the trip, told the committee that Giovannis had very good social skills, but was probably not as serious analytically and was more junior, Black explained. Giovannis was, I guess, a combination of kind of knowing the geography since he lived there and knowing various people and had developed various relationships. Back then, you had the mayor, who was Lushkov, and you had an artist named Suretli. He was always putting different people together with different people. Sounds very Epstein. That's what they always say Epstein was up to. Did you ever notice that? Anyways. Black served on the board of the Russian Direct Investment Fund until 2014, and had previously met with Kirill Dmitriev, blah, 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 Leon Black. Early in Trump's Moscow trip, a party was hosted by the Brook Group for Trump at a room called the Library at the Bolshoi Kempinski Hotel, where a group of American investors likely stayed. This part is redacted. At the party, Trump may have begun a brief relationship with a Russian woman named so-and-so Glavashkov. Theodore Liebman, an architect who lived in Moscow and New York in the 1990s, who traveled to Russia with Trump and the other investors from the Brook Group, attended the event. According to Liebman, shortly before the party, Giovannis had a chance encounter with Blank, who Giovannis knew, and Giovannis invited her to the Brook Group party. Lehman told the committee he went down to the party with David. He drove me. When we arrived, she was walking out of the Kempinski and knew David. David said, "Why don't you come to a party? We're having a party upstairs for Donald Trump." He said, "It's a cocktail party. You should come. Donald Trump is going to be there." And she said, "Okay, when does it start?" In a few minutes, we're going to go up and check out the like it happens in New York all the time, too. Curran told the committee that based on what Giovanni told him, I think Trump might have had a brief romantic relationship. Yeah, all of 3 minutes. Very romantic. And then he said that he saw them before he left, and then he saw them again together. I'm not sure if it was the next day or a subsequent day or whatever. I do remember he said that he saw them together. Several historical press reports of which the Russians indicate possible contact subsequent to the Moscow trip. One article from 1998. I don't know why is that one. Why is the name of the paper redacted? Donald Trump warmly welcomed the guests, among those is charming Miss Moscow. Trump recalled that 2 years ago, during his stay in Moscow, Blank was for him the most beautiful hostess of the capital, whose charms were not overshadowed even by Claudia Schiffer and Tina Turner, who lived in the same hotel. He recalled with pleasure the excellent company with which he spent time in Moscow. So whoever was Miss Moscow a couple of years before. In 2000 interview was asked about her interaction with famous people, including Trump. She was quoted as saying, "Why is her name redacted if it's in print?" With some, I was briefly met by chance, while others, there was a much longer relationship due to mutual affection. For example, Trump is a person who I like very much. I cannot call him a friend because we do not call up and do not meet daily, but perhaps we would live in the same city. I'm in New York, or he would be in Los Angeles, and we would communicate more closely. Let's just say we're on a friendly footing. Trump's travel to Moscow in 96. He said, made some contact, blah, blah, blah. I know he and Giovannis went to meet with Trump in New York at some point. David told me he met Donald in Trump Tower, possibly in the 90s. After the 2016 election, Curran and Giovannis continued to communicate about Giovannis' relationship with Trump in some cases. This is about continuing to talk about Trump Tower, obviously. And, oh yeah, this is the picture. We've seen that unredacted, I think, depicting Trump and so-and-so at Giovannis' request. Was in the United States, visited Liebman at his apartment in New York. If Liebman had photographs from the 96 Brook Group party at the convention, Liebman told the committee that he had not seen Giovannis in a number of years, but he had this picture, he gave it to them. Right, okay. And then there's this same group of people, and ladies abound. Showing Giovannis with Trump, the email had no text. Russian investigation only. Black told the committee that he did not recall any compromising behavior during the trip. Black also did not recall the event in the photograph. Black did recall going to a concert with Trump, followed by a discotheque, and there may have been met by others, potentially including Giovannis, but Black's memory was unclear. Black later added that he and Trump might have been in a strip club together. Might have. For the record, I remember every strip club I've ever been in. Like, it's never like, was that a cafeteria? Or, oh, yeah, no, that was definitely a strip club. That was definitely a strip club. Giovannis is believed to have told others in Moscow elsewhere of his 1996 interactions with Trump. It's not clear if these allegations are related or separate from the interaction as previously described. So, the Russia people are not going to bring up any of this shit, and Pam Bondi is not going to go after them again because they don't want this can of worms opened again.
This is going to be the only excavator entirely made in the United States of America. So that's good. That's good. I love it.
Yeah, they'll make 8 of them here, and they'll make hundreds of them outside the country.
I love it. It's great. And they'll all come. I hate to tell you, but they're all going to be coming too. You're going to have some competition, but you'll be ahead of them. If congressional Democrats had their way this year, would right now be facing the largest tax hike. So they wanted to give you, this is what I was running against, the largest tax hike in the history of our country.
No, taxes would have gone back to where they were before. Most of the people here wouldn't have been affected by it at all.
I wanted to give you the largest tax cut in the history of our country.
Which you didn't do. Didn't do in the first term, aren't doing now.
And if they won, this country would be cratering right now. It would be cratering. So I've cut a record number of job-killing regulations. The reason our job numbers are so good, and remember this, I've cut hundreds of thousands of federal jobs. Now,
not quite.
if I didn't do that, our numbers would be even more through the roof.
One moment, please. Hi. I'm on the air. Can I call you back?
Oh, okay. How much longer you got?
Well, technically about 15 minutes, but I started a little bit late. So, yeah. Love you.
Okay.
Wait, you want to say hi? Hold on.
In 15.
Okay, you can say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, love you. Bye.
From cold Kentucky.
I know. I'll call you in a minute. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye. Always take a call from your mother. Okay? Just saying, for the record.
Or I could get them. You know what they do? In order to have decent numbers, they hire 1 million people. You hire 1 million people, all of a sudden you're down to 3.5%. We don't do that. We get rid of that job where you have 10 jobs for you have 10 people for every job. And they are all now, and they hated me. They hated me. Now they love me. You know why? They all got jobs in the private sector.
Why? Well, I thought government workers were totally inefficient and terrible, and that's why they ended up working there. And no, they didn't get jobs in the private sector.
Making twice as
They're getting contracted to do the job they did before as a private citizen, but without like federal union protection.
much money as they made from the federal government, sometimes much more than that. So a year ago, they hated me, and now they love me. But it includes dozens of burdensome regulations that were crushing our amazing farmers. We love our farmers.
Yeah, that's why we're bailing them out again after a shit trade deal.
Won this thing. I think I'm at 97% with farmers. Well,
We'll keep thinking that, dummy.
who the hell is voting for Kamala? You know, it was a crazy election.
People who didn't want American citizens shot in the street while regular order ICE detentions would be carried out within the law.
Because we were doing great against Biden. Our hope, nobody even knew who the hell
Oh my fucking God.
Kamala was. All I
Yeah, we all knew who she was. She was the vice president of the United States. Yeah.
knew, she was the border czar. We had millions of people pouring through, and she was the border czar. So
She wasn't the border czar. She was actually in charge of stemming the tide by going into the country. Hold on. Sorry, ice cubes are back? Oh, is that a good thing? I don't know what that... I don't know what you mean, ice cubes. Instead of wrenches, I see. That's the new symbol. I think it's like a blue badge. Not quite an ice cube, but I like
that. But I will tell you, the amazing, we didn't know much about her. And, you know, when you're running a campaign, you're focused on the person you're running against. So we're running against Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yeah, she was his running mate. She was his vice president. You knew everything you needed to know. You just hadn't made up a name for her, and you couldn't come up with one that wasn't obviously sexist or racist. So you were having difficulties, you know, calling her like Cackling Kamala or something like that.
I call him Crooked Joe, Sleepy Joe. They're both accurate.
Right. So he was having trouble finding a nickname for her.
And we're running.
Because it also, again, this goes to that whole thing about insulting somebody, that to some degree, by insulting someone, you are insisting that they are your equal because they are worth insulted. They're worth your time and focus. And especially if you come up with a nickname for them, that means you view them as a legitimate threat. You have to belittle them. It is not obvious to everyone around that they are below you, so you have to call it out. So the fact that he comes up with a nickname for somebody is an indication that he is scared of that person or what they know or whatever lead they may have on him in any particular field. And so he that's how he does it. When it comes to a woman, especially a woman of color, if he gives her a nickname, he views it as an equalizer, and it's difficult for him to think of a woman as an equal.
Against him, all of us, and he's way down in the polls, down by a lot, and all of us.
He would have won.
Suddenly,
if the debate hadn't happened, Biden would have won.
Take him out, and they put a new. This is like I told Dana White the other night. It's like taking a fighter, putting him in. He's getting the hell beat out of him. You take him out, and you put a new fighter in.
It's not like that at all. Because the fighter would be, the energy that they were using in their punches would clearly be indicative of their skills and their record. So she would have to run on the record of the administration that she was a part of. She wasn't a total stranger. It wasn't like they brought in Gavin Newsom. If they'd brought in somebody from the outside, that would be true. But she was already a part of the administration, was running on the record of the administration and what the administration would continue to do if it continued, if she or Biden had continued. So no, it's not like swapping fighters at all. It's the same, you fucking prat.
I said, that's not fair, but that's what happened to me. The stuff that happened to me can only happen to me.
Boo fuckity who.
I repealed the Biden's EPA ridiculous water restrictions to keep federal bureaucrats off your land and out of your business. That was a big one. That was a big one.
Yeah, not really.
I terminated the so-called diesel exhaust fluid requirement. You know what that is? Saving family farmers more than $1 billion a year. And we're going to do a lot more. We're going to do something on track.
Not family farmers, like farmers, big agribusiness specifically, and across all of them. Also damaging the environment. So $1 billion peppered across a lot of people who are in a particular industry, and this is the cost of doing business, or the removal of a regulation that can cause seepage into the groundwater, destruction of arable land, pollution and toxins in your food and water supply. Gee, I wonder which has more value.
You know, they never took we did it with cars. We took all that nonsense off the cars. You couldn't start your car.
That's true. Yeah. Biden had this whole thing where he wanted to put the cranks back on. He was that old. He just wanted you to have to give it, it's a good workout. It really is, but
you'd have to go to MIT to get somebody to fix your car with all the crap they had on it in order to save a quarter of it lasted. This much little tiny bit of gas. These people are crazy.
Also, what the fuck are you talking about? You think cars have gotten less complicated? You think these assholes are driving like Dodge Ram trucks from the 70s or something?
And I'm going to do that, I think, for tractors, too, because we're going to get the tractors back where...
Okay, real quick, if I may. I think it's Italy. Is they doing this? Okay, yeah. Where's this guy? It's a... There's so many of them now. Yeah, here you go. You want to know what's going to happen to fucking tractors? Let me show you what's going to happen to fucking tractors, buddy. There's this guy, and then there's... Let's see. These will now go away. And there's too many of them. Gonna do with this with the fucking tractors. I'm gonna do this with the tractors. Here you go. Let me do this. There you go. And I'm just arranging this so you guys can see. Dismiss. Yeah, there you go. Here's what's happening with fucking tractors. This self-driving robot tractor could revolutionize farming. See that guy right there? This is a seriously intimidating-looking robot tractor has been drawing crowds at Iowa's annual Farm Progress Show. Unlike a conventional tractor, this futuristic piece of farm equipment called the Autonomous Concept Vehicle doesn't have a cabin for a driver. Instead, the tractor, built by agricultural equipment firm Case IH, finds its way using built-in cameras, radar, and GPS. There it is. And then here's a autonomous tractor for small farmers. If you got a small, like, grove, whatever this is, this thing just goes on its own, like a fucking lawnmower with specialty abilities. We'll go to this one here. Agricultural robots to replace small tractors. Buy one of these fucking things. You can drive it yourself if you want to, but it'll just go on its own. So that's what's happening with tractors. By the way, you think it's just small companies? Here's John Deere. The autonomous tractor. Why do I need autonomy? John Deere asks in its ad for its driverless tractor. Gee whiz. These are the chips and the brains and the thing. There it is, dragging the backhoe. Now, do you think you starting to understand what I'm saying about the removal of immigrant labor over time because they will no longer be necessary? I know too much. It's just the reality.
Well, you don't have to be a PhD in order to start your tractor.
Okay. First of all, you don't need to be a PhD to start your tractor. And most modern farmers deal with really technical equipment. Like, this asshole thinks that they're a bunch of grease monkeys. He thinks the same thing. He thinks about farmers the way he thinks about fucking coal miners. He thinks they're all dumb, that they don't know shit. You got to know a lot about biology and chemistry and to be a farmer these days, especially on the scale that they do it. It didn't slapdash. It didn't look like rain, Martha. But should we plant the corn? What do you think? Let me consult my tarot cards, Slim. Like, that's how he thinks shit works. All right, so let's see. What's the fucking... yeah, all right, hold on. Dink. What's that goofy guy that works for, is it Palantir, who says way too much and drives me fucking crazy with the during all of his interviews? Yeesh. That guy. There was an interview with him where he said the quiet part really, really goddamn loud. It's and essentially what he was saying is that we don't need that robots will replace the need for immigration. So, like, hold on, let me see if I can stretch this thing out. I can type. Okay. Let's see. The first future workforce. Where is it? There's a myriad of these folks in here. Hold on. And a lot of these are just stupid little shorts. I need something that was in the last, this month. Humanity and AI. Yeah, that's just Musk again. But it was it's not Palmer Luckey. It's the other goofy fuck. I'll dig it up. Let's see. I know how I'll do it. This guy right here. This is it's so frustrating because this is exactly what we talked about, Rob, Glenn, and I, about how I need to make my like searchable stuff that I've gone over, like the videos I've covered in the past, go into a file and be arranged in the thing where I can call them up so I can show them to you guys, because I could quote them all day, but I'd rather show you. Let's see. Features. Let's see. This is. Yeah, here we go. Found it.
By the way,
okay, hold on. Right. This is the guy, Alex Karp, who's a loony.
That a lot of the value, interestingly, people always assume the value is from where you are to where you should be, and that's obvious. But in most sovereign nations in the world, I mean, we deal with almost all, in one form or another, that are broadly defined as that would be it could deal with a company that's, American. The actual technological rigor of the enterprises has significant holes in it. So it's very, I'm dyslexic, it's very dyslexic. There are like whole pieces of the enterprise that exist on a PowerPoint that when you go to battle, you will find out do not exist. And this, whatever country you're in this room, if you are in the West, this is a problem you have. A day of battlefield, you will find out. This is one of the advantages the Ukrainians had. They essentially started from nothing. And so you didn't have to rediscover that your enterprise didn't work after you're in fighting. And one of the huge advantages America has is just, for better or worse, I believe it or not, think mostly for worse. I was always against interventions. I'm not a neocon. We had just all this experience on the battlefield, so you could see what worked and what didn't work. But pulling it back to the first thing that's is one of them, in fact, on a PowerPoint only, like for example, like the mock reason, and that's going to require. Okay, well, how
I'm going to have to go earlier in this probably. Larry Fink is interviewing him.
Credit for me or do this from private organization. They're pretty.
You have stories, and then for lots of reasons I'll just leave aside for now. That's not the way at least technology was built until now. There's all these defense tech startups and Palantir, but
Jesus Christ! I never thought I would go. Does anybody bring in Elon Musk?
It was that you had this thing where you were going to create something that had to work under the harshest conditions, that was presumably this
battlefield, blah blah blah,
in America and what is happening in Europe. So rough, dirty, morally gray, under which you have to fight, even though that's not the assume that investments in software-based defense were some kind of crazy thing Americans do for marketing. Get rich, company blows up, you're on your beach in the Bahamas, but shareholders are happy and it's gone, kind of thing. And what you've seen. So first of all, you could say, well, that's changed. But germane to your question.
Sorry, this is painful. I understand, but he gets to a point here where he admits it. Let's see. You're dyslexic. We saw that part. The battlefield. Presumably your enterprise. You have any connection to a dynamic would welcome all opinions. Typical cover. No, it's Fink asking him a bunch of shit. Okay. Am I going to find out this is the other interview with him of the two? Oy. Maybe so. Maybe so. Hold on. My bad. This is exactly what he was getting. Rob was annoying. Well, every tech on the photo manufacturing is this.
This are the most
Yeah, but the ones that need
build institutional or individual capability in resilience.
in this next phase. We gotta figure this out together.
Okay, I'll find that later. Beg your pardon. Sorry for the distraction, but I had to find this. But that's the guy that I'm talking about, Karp. And Karp brings up specifically that, and there's a quote directly from him at one point that because of robots, you won't even need immigration. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the direct quote from him just in Karp with... Paladin pretty rapid advancement in artificial... Yeah. Oh, sorry. One moment, please. I'll be right back. Let's have repairs done on my car, and the guy's leaving. So I found the article. So I'll show you with this. This is the key. This right here. Palantir CEO claims AI will mean Western economies won't need immigration. Alex Karp can sniff out a hot potato topic, but what comes next is in the act. Palantir says has an inimitable aptitude for sniffing out the politically sensitive topic about which, by his own admission, he should not be speaking. Again, this was the don't say the quiet part loud. The only reason someone's last year it was the idea of innate Western superiority and his belief that his company's software product was the only reason why someone's not goose-stepping between me and you on the streets of Europe, meaning that American know-how is why we won World War II and stuff like that. So you're just borrowing from somebody else's win, which we've seen before. But he goes, okay, blah, blah, blah. Flying into Davos for the World Economic Forum and perhaps a puff of red smoke under a ghoulish cloak, Karp responded to probing about the impact of AI on the jobs market. I do think these trends in AI really do make it hard to imagine why we should have large-scale immigration unless you have a very specialized skill. It was this was exactly the quote I was looking for, and I'm sorry I can't find the video of it. Not that, just imagine, here, I'll do it for you. I do think these trends really do make it hard to imagine why. Is that too much? That's pretty, I'm nailing it. I just want you to know I'm nailing it. Unless you have large-scale immigration, why you should have large-scale immigration unless you have a very specialized skill. He was unlikely to have his worldview significantly challenged by his interviewer, Larry Fink, a septuagenarian billionaire co-chairman of the World Economic Forum, who is, by the way, our new best friend. This is exactly what I said. All right, now I'm going to fuck off, and I will see you guys. I take it back. Tomorrow, I will have an afternoon show, but Summer's having surgery tomorrow morning, so I'm going to be going with her to that. So that said, all's well. She's going to be fine, but it's a thing. And, it requires her to go under and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go take care of my girl in the morning. So there won't be a morning show, but we will be, it is outpatient. She will be home in the afternoon because everything will go perfectly well. I insist. So I will be on in the afternoon. I'll do the afternoon show. So I just want you guys to know that that's why and why I won't be there. And it's also why the show was a little bit late today because we're prepping for that and all that kind of stuff. So I will call my mom. Don't worry about it. I love you guys and I will see you later. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And yeah, like and subscribe. And now, one second. Let's go with this. Yeah, I'm going to go with this guy. You guys hear it, which is the important thing. My headphones, my headphones got I will see you guys later. Thanks so much. Blessings to you. I'm going to find that goddamn clip.